How you doing? Welcome back to the channel. Got a video here where just kind of pointing out, exemplifying where men have an issue with how women tell men what their thought process is, right? We have a lady here who just basically has, from her own experience, has extrapolated how men are thinking, right? When it comes to dating, when men say that they're going to date someone less attractive because they want less of a headache. We just delusion is real, and we get to sort of listen to how she's put this all together. Let's take a look.
Saw a post that said that men are dating more for peace over beauty now. And if that doesn't tell you how dense and how black and white these men think, is that they're correlating more a beautiful, attractive woman to be more difficult and more demanding. Instead, what men are
That's typically how society has correlated it for us, right? Our own experiences have said that. We see, the more beautiful you are, the more you can get away with, right? Because there's always someone that's going to be vying for your beauty. What's that other saying? Uh, Show me a beautiful woman, I'll show you someone that's tired of her. Yeah, you're beautiful, and the world is a little easier because people are kinder to you. It's not something that I'm simply making up. It's really just how life is. You can take it from anyone who will tell you when they were sort of obese or morbidly obese and the way they lived that life versus when they lost weight, became beautiful, or had your ugly duckling phase, your glow up. Life gets easier the more attractive you are. It's part of human nature. So yes, ultra beautiful women tend to be headaches, right? Those aren't the ones that's going to say, "Oh, I'm super beautiful, but I want to just relax and chill." No, I want to be seen. This beauty is to be used, to be flaunted over, and they'll get that. They'll absolutely get that. So when men decide, hey, remember when you called us shallow, and we said, okay, there might be some reasoning here if I keep shooting for the baddies, the IG baddies, right? That my eyes are being flooded with, and my life is hectic. Fine, let me now choose something that's not there. Let me choose something that someone that's, look, you look like you have some sort of sense. I can build something with you. I want to, especially as we get older, especially as we get older. Peace, right? I'd rather be alone than with someone chaotic. Absolutely. And as men get older, we start to really value that that peace component. So when we hear a lot about the lonely male epidemic, I think a lot of us are kind of confused. And yes, we can recognize that there's a loneliness aspect of it. But there's also a large part of men say, yeah, I went through this harrowing divorce and this relationship, this thing, it nearly broke me, and now I just value my peace. I come back home. It's how I left it. Maybe you come back to a pet, right? You get up with the guys once in a while, and you just have a quiet life. Men really, really value that. Is is dating if dating someone less attractive can lead me towards that, why not?
really trying to say is that they don't want to be held accountable for their actions. They want to be able to do certain things and you not being able to say anything about it to them. Okay. In their mind, they think to themselves that if I date a less attractive person, I can get away with more. They won't be as demanding. They'll be more peaceful. When in reality, so many men give women the chaos. They are the ones.
Less attractive person doesn't mean that they don't have a spine. They don't know their own worth. Just because you're not as attractive as the ultra attractive doesn't mean that you'll just accept whatever from whomever. Right? That's a different correlation that she's trying to make. The men really don't look at it like that. If I'm looking for a peace as my priority, I'm not necessarily looking at someone that's going to say, "Don't hold me accountable." Being held accountable is also is a great thing for him. Right. I'm sure there's a subset of people who say, "Yeah, I'm gonna live and I'm gonna be with her because she's just gonna be super happy to be with me. Therefore, I can get away with everything, any and everything." I don't think those are necessarily the same men chasing peace.
That bring the chaos. They don't want to be held accountable. They don't want to see their actions. They don't want their fragile ego to be hurt because they have been propped up their entire lives by society. And when a woman calls them out for their
Every bit of that she just said, every bit of that is projection. Right? Traditionally, statistically, it's not men that aren't held to task. Society very early on will tell men that they're not good enough, that type of behavior that they're exhibiting is not going to get them any type of reward that they're looking for. You have to input this to get that. Men hear that a lot. Relationally, you're not this, you're not going to get that. You're Look, you've got guys, you know, who've listened and heard and been beaten down, the short kings. But you're not tall enough. I need someone 6 foot above. You got men doing, limb lengthening surgery. You know, the male BBL. That's what it is. Let's coin that. It's the male BBL. I need to be taller because life on that side seems more promising. So you have to break my limbs, stretch them out, turn them, bit by bit over a prolonged period of time so they can break, they can reheal, they can break, they can reheal, they break, reheal, so I can finally be over 6 feet. And at that point, my options in the world is supposed to just widen up. So to me, that's you're being held accountable, right? Your life has told you, here's your hard limit, do better, or this is this as far as you go.
behavior, they don't like it. So instead, this is how black and white they think. Well, if I go for someone easier and who demands less, which is someone that's less attractive, she won't need so much from me. And they
That's it. Again, another falsehood, right? Just because you're less attractive doesn't mean your demands aren't also stringent. Right? If you're less attractive, but you're hyper successful in your relationships, at life, at your job, you still have heavy demands. You're just not as attractive. That's the only thing there. Right? You don't Being attractive is not the only reason why people are demanding. When men are prioritizing peace, they tend to go out first and looking for peace, not a level of attraction. And also, let's stop beating up on the very ultra pretty people in this world. They can be peaceful as well. They tend not to be, but there's still a chance.
would rather do that than own up to their mistakes and actually change as a man. They would go for someone that they're less attracted to because they don't want to change who they are. That is how black and white they think.
Uh, let's be fair. This sounds like describing a woman. Like, let me know in the comments down. Put a 1 in the comments if you think she's describing a woman.
They won't even go for even like the person that they're ideally more physically attracted to. They will be with someone less attractive just because that they will put up with more, because these men want to be able to get away with cheating. They want to be able to get away with going to strip clubs. They want to be able to get away with a lot more behavior with someone who won't demand as much because it's easier. It's just simply easier with how these men want to date these days. So it's really wild how these men are thinking.
So again, men, hope you downloaded all that. Hope you read it, internalized that, because that's how you're thinking. You didn't know how you were thinking, but thankfully she clearly elucidated how we're thinking in our approaches. And I I encourage you all to find her and send her a thank you for making it clear. What you mean when you say that you want peace? You're really just trying to get away with more things rather than you just want a peaceful life and you don't want the stressors of what a chaotic partner brings. Guys, let me know what you think. I Again, this is a great example why men are just like, I'm going to evaluate you and then I'm going to see where you're about. And then if we're not on the same page, I'm just going to leave. Right? No, I'm probably just going to ghost you. I'll never talk to you again. If this is your mentality and this is where it is, and I'm going to listen, right? I'm going to tell stories about my experiences. So you tell me your experiences, and I'm going to listen and see what things you seem to conveniently leave out, what things you emphasize, and if this is kind of just how your spirit is, where you, like, the problem here This is a type of person in which you will tell them what you're thinking. You will tell them what's on your mind. Then they will tell you what you are thinking, what's on your mind. This type of person is completely infuriating to deal with. It. So just detach with love. Peace, peace, love. Wish you all the best. I'll see you guys in the next one.